This program is brought to you in part by SalCal Real Estate Connections.
Welcome to Race in Action Today. We're here today to bring you the action from our favorite race venue, Lime Rock Park, the road racing center of the East. And the event today, and I'll tell you, it's my favorite event of the year. It's the Lime Rock Park Vintage Festival. We'll feature antique cars, vintage race cars with a history as rich as the Connecticut Tobacco Valley soil. And also, as an added feature, a one-of-a-kind 1937 BMW 328 Milli Meglia Beaglefalter will be here on hand at the Park Concourse, a rare occurrence indeed. I think it's time you find yourself a very comfortable chair and relax. We're about to see what vintage racing's all about and the people who make it happen.
Tonight's show will be dedicated to the pre-war cars as they become a very favorite item of ours. And this specific car we're looking at right now, a 1915 Duesenberg Race Car, has quite a history, as we'll be talking to its driver and caretaker, David, who really knows everything about this car. But I'll tell you, it really got my attention. And you'll be we'll be looking at other cars in that time period. And believe me, you're going to find the show very interesting.
Yes, we have David Greenlees here who's with this number 25 race car, and I'll tell you, can't even begin to tell you what it is, but I got a feeling you know a little bit about this car.
Oh, a little bit. It's a 1915 Duesenberg race car. Was built for board track racing, long speedways that were built out of basically 2x4s, laminated end to end with a really steep banking, and also on some flat tracks like Indianapolis. This car did race at Indianapolis and finished second in 1960.
Now, is this like a one-off?
The Duesenberg brothers made 6 of these cars. 2 of them survived. This one, and there's one in the Indianapolis 500 Museum. The one in the 500 Museum is an 8-valve engine. This one has a 16-valve engine. It has 4 valves per cylinder, and it's the only one left. It's a pretty special car.
Now, does it run and everything?
Oh, sure. Yep, I've rebuilt it all mechanically, including worked with a pattern maker and have
make the castings?
Made new patterns and had a cylinder block cast for it and machined it at my shop up in Vermont. So, but it's one of a small handful of pre-World War I American race cars that, other than the cylinder block and removable tail on the back, is all original parts, and its whole history is known, which is rare.
Yeah, this is, I'll tell you, I have never seen one before. This is a first for me, and I could tell in the condition it's in, it looks pretty much like in the day.
It
right?
does, yeah. There's not much change, if anything, from the tires are a little bit heavier section for vintage racing today, but other than that, there's virtually nothing changed.
And it sure has a place in history, I'm sure. So how long did they race a car like this? I mean, did they use it for a long period of time?
Well, the Duesenbergs built 6 of these. This was one of the last ones built. It was at the end of the 4-cylinder era. They were then changing over to 8 cylinders, because of progress. That's why this one has a 16-valve engine. They did run it at Indy in 1916 and managed to finish second against the Peugeots, which were much more superior, more sophisticated, double overhead cam. So they did well, but as soon as they got their straight eights running, they sold this car to a gentleman by the name of Jimmy Benedict from Katona, New York. And he raced it at Sheepshead Bay in Coney Island on the board track twice before World War I, and raced it some after World War I. And then another gentleman, Lou Hoyt from New York State, bought it. And he raced it on flat tracks, mile tracks, Syracuse, Danbury. This car won the first race at Orange County Speedway in New York.
Wow.
And Lou ran it. He actually set a speed record with the car on the Hudson River on the ice in the middle of winter. And he drove the car till the late 20s and parked it, and died in the early 30s. And his widow kept the car, and a friend of the present owner, well, he died this past year, we miss him, Fred Rowe, a Duesenberg historian, and the third owner of the car, heard about the car in 1941, and they hopped in their 26 Cadillac and drove from Boston down to New York State, bought the car, and towed it back to Boston with a tow bar. So the car's whole history is known, and it's all documented in photos.
This car is really something special. I really have to commend you for the work you've done on this car. It's gorgeous. And I'll tell you, I am just at awe of what the technology was in 15.
15, yeah.
I mean, that's really something special, you know. I really want to thank you for spending some time with us, and boy, we're going to have to do some history reading about this car. It's interesting.
Sure. Well, thanks. Thanks for stopping by. Glad you like it.
Thank you. You are excellent.
Thanks.
Now, how special is that? A 1915 Duesenberg race car that they only built 6 of. I mean, I can't tell you how impressed I am with this car. And David now is getting the car ready to run, which I just couldn't believe the car. They run this car just like it was an everyday affair. And believe me, you have to get out to this event and see these cars, because it's really hard to believe that a car like this would exist today, and how great of condition and how it runs. It's just
Yes, we have Joseph Freeman here, who owns this absolutely gorgeous Mercer. Looks like a raceabout here or something, but I got a feeling you know a little bit about this car.
Well, yeah, this is the Mercer company was started by the Roebling family and the Kuser family in Mercer County near Trenton, New Jersey. In 1910, they started putting out cars, and these were the first American true sports car. This car is amazing in the sense that with a relatively small engine, it handles beautifully, and it's very original. I'm the 5th owner of this car, if you can believe it, since 1914, and it's been owned by a famous artist named Peter Helk, a man named Sam Bailey, who found it originally after the first 2 owners had owned it. It also ran at Daytona Beach at about 100 miles an hour at one point. So wow. These are quick. They won famous races Mercer Raceabouts finished, I believe, second in Indianapolis one year, and Ralph De Palma, a very famous driver, won a major race with him in about 1910. So they 1910 and 11. They were really wonderful. What's great about this car is it's so original. There's really nothing on this car that isn't absolutely as it was when in the day.
Yeah, I was looking at it and I said, boy, it looks like you could just turn the clock back here.
You really can, and yet when you take this out on the road, it's hard not to put your foot down. This car will go probably close to 100 miles an hour, so certainly 80 anyway.
I'm sure it has to be an exciting ride.
Yeah, you're right out there in the open, but that was the way cars were in those days. This and the Stutz Bearcat were the Mercer Raceabouts, and the Stutz Bearcats were the sort of iconic sports cars in America very early on. And it really predates a lot of European sports cars of the time. They made full house racing cars, but Finley Porter, who designed these, said publicly, we're making race cars and selling them to the people on the race to run on the road. So
that enticed them more, right?
Indeed it did. I mean, there are a lot of folks, wealthy young men who bought these things, who drove them, and they were almost all raced at one point or another because they handled so well, and they were such a how do I say it? Just the hottest car in the day. This was your real unbelievable fast sports car. Your Ferrari, your Lamborghini, your whatever you want to name it, the McLaren Formula One of the day.
Now, was this like a board racetrack car too, or no?
No, this primarily raced on open roads. It's amazing what they raced on. They they would race on basically packed dirt roads with stone walls and trees. For example, there were races here in Massachusetts, in Lowell, in 1918-1919. They were on public roads, just open public roads.
Wow.
And cars like this raced at Santa Monica. They raced in Milwaukee, and they raced in various other places where open road racing was done. Then after a while, the open road racing became too dangerous, and the public complained about racing on the road. So many of the original road races ended, and they didn't do it any longer. But they had hill climbs as well with these, where they would go up a hill. They have a very famous hill climb in Worcester called the Dead Horse Hill Climb, and Briarcliff in New York. So they were these were really, as I say,
yeah, the history is just unbelievable.
Fantastic, yeah. So I'm really so grateful to own this car and to preserve it for the future. It's really kind of a museum piece, but I like my museum pieces to run and make noise. So.
That's it. I agree with you. I have to commend you. You certainly done an outstanding job. I see you have an array of cars here this weekend that are just gorgeous. But that 1915 Duesenberg, I mean, that was something else. I just never seen nothing like that. And this car too. I mean, it just looks like it's in the day. Just turn the clock.
Well, and the amazing part about both of those cars is that they handle beautifully. I mean, that old Duesenberg, when I get it up on the mile at New Hampshire or on the mile in Milwaukee, it just goes around the corners beautifully. They really handle well. And this, the shocks are a little stiff, but I could go up Route 112 here, and I'd pass a few trucks and maybe even an SUV or two in this thing. So.
Wow. That's great. I'll tell you, Joseph, we want to thank you for your interview. The car is really special, and your whole collection here, I'll tell you, I'm just at awe of what you have here. It's and this event is gorgeous. I love this place.
We got to thank Skip Barber and a number of other people for this. I mean, and I've got a great crew who helped me with these cars. Dave Greenlease, who you interviewed before.
Yeah.
Guys, David Wallace and Zeke Prince from California, along with Ed Dalton, who brought the cars. It's a great crew. We really, really love to come out and show these cars and have them running and have good fun with them. So, thank you for.
Well, I want to really thank you. Honest, we certainly love talking to people like yourself about these cars. They're really something special, and you're great yourself.
Well, thanks very much. I really appreciate it.
Thanks a lot, Joseph.
Okay.
Really. Yes, we have Frank Mount with us, who drives this beautiful MG, which I've seen at Lime Rock many times. And I'm not really sure of the year and the model, but I'll tell you, Frank, every time I see you out there, looks like you're having a great time. What's the history of this car?
This car was built by a chap in England, probably 1988, out of a 1939 MGTB, which in original form looks a lot like a TC. There was 250 TBs made just before the war, and that stopped production. But this has a special alloy body, and it's built up as a replica of a Q-type race car.
Yeah, it looks, I mean, I'll tell you, I don't see many like this. I'll put it that way.
No, you might see a couple in England, but this is the only one I ever seen over here anyway.
How long have you owned this car?
We bought it on a trip to England in 2004 at Barry Walker's MG place.
Now, you've always fooled with MGs, basically?
I grew up with MGs when I was a kid. It was 1957, I got my first MG, and I began racing the old TC that I had then in 1958. So I've been at it for a long time.
Yeah, this vintage racing is becoming really popular. I envision it to grow a lot, too. I think this sport is going to get really big.
That's likely going to happen. It's a very friendly sort of thing, and it's not all that expensive if you stay with a car that's not all that expensive. I mean, there's obviously some pretty expensive cars here, but...
Yeah, I know. I have some visions about putting a Model T together, believe it or not. But I don't know, you got to figure a way how to make it stop.
Yeah, well, when we race at Pittsburgh in the park, there's a couple of Model T powered cars go in the pre-war group there.
Yeah, I like the pre-war cars that kind of got my attention lately. I don't know what it is. I think it's because the pre-war cars are really the pioneers of auto racing to begin with, you know?
Well, that's true. That's where it all started. They had a lot of fun back then, too.
Oh, absolutely. Let me tell you, you had to really be a free spirit to drive a race car back then.
No, that's right. It was far more dangerous, and men were men, so to speak.
Well, I tell you, Frank, I want to thank you for the interview. We're going to keep an eye out for you, and I got a feeling you're certainly going to have some fun.
Well, if I get the bugs worked out of it, maybe we will.
Okay. Thanks a lot. You were great.
Boy, I'll tell you, Frank's car was really something special. I never quite saw an MG like this in my life. Well, another vehicle kind of made its appearance for the first time up at Lime Rock. Our Race in Action Today vehicle here really served us well.
Yes, we have Lee Duran with us, who owns this absolutely gorgeous car. I can't even tell you what it is, but I got a feeling, Lee, you know a little bit about this car.
It started out life as a 1934 MG P-Series, and I resuscitated it from pretty much a pile of bits and pieces. I had to build a new body for it, but I decided to turn it into a race car that I could enjoy for events like this.
I'll tell you, I've never seen one. I mean, I'm kind of confused. Is that like a turbocharger there?
That's a supercharger, and then the ducting all down the side is an intercooler for the intake.
Now, did you get the race history on this car?
It doesn't have any race history. This is its first race.
Really?
Yes.
You put this together from a car that was raced in that period of what it should look like. And have you been out in the track?
was out yesterday just testing the handling and trying to tune it. It's great handling the little car.
Yeah, it looks actually gorgeous. I'll tell you, the car is really stunning. Caught my eye. But I know with you, this is not an uncommon thing. You got that orange race car you got there is about as beautiful as this car. Tell me, what's the secret to doing all this work? I don't know. How you do something like this?
I've got a very understanding wife.
Oh, yeah? Where are you from?
I'm from Lyme, Connecticut.
Yeah, this car really caught our eye, and we're going to have to keep an eye out on the racetrack to see how you do, because it certainly looks like it's right at home here at Lime Rock.
This is kind of like your first soapbox racer. This thing is just a treat to drive as a little car.
Absolutely. I got to catch this disease. I'm going to tell you.
You stand around here, you'll be infected for sure.
I've been thinking about putting together a Model T Speedster, you know, because I just found the pre-war cars kind of interesting. And I think we're going to have to do something. I may have to give you a call to give me some advice on how to make one of these bodies.
I'll be happy to talk you right through it. You'll be a professional before you know it.
Well, we certainly want to thank you for having a conversation with us, and we're going to keep an eye out for this car. But I have to tell you, you just do outstanding work, and we're really glad you're here.
Thank you. I really enjoyed being here.
Thanks a lot. You were excellent.
Well, I'll tell you, Lee's car really was right at home at the Lime Rock track, and buzzing around this track, racing the Bugattis had to be quite a thrill for him. And the car was just gorgeous, as you can see. It was quite a day for him.
Yes, we have Richard Laundress with us, who has this beautiful Bugatti. I'm not sure the year of it, but I got a feeling you know a little bit about this car.
I certainly do. It's 1927, and I've owned the car for 15 years, and it's a Type 35B, which is straight 8, 2.5 litre supercharged.
This car must have quite an extensive race history, too, I'm sure.
Yeah, it was produced in the factory, and it went directly to South America. And it was raced there for quite a while amongst a number of the countries, and then eventually ended up as a speedway car with an old Ford flathead V8 in it.
Now, tell me, where are you from, Richard?
I'm from Australia.
You took the car from Australia to here?
Well, the car spends most of its time in England, and Ivan Dutton here has been looking after it for me.
Wow. Boy, that's interesting. So you'll be going to probably, Watkins Glen? And
I have raced here at this car at Watkins Glen before, but this time I'm not. I've got to go back to Europe.
Now tell me, how do you like this Lime Rock track?
Lime Rock's a fabulous track. It's a fabulous meeting. It's great to see so many enthusiasts here. Beautiful country. In Australia, most of our racing circuits are in dust bowls, so it's wonderful to see green grass.
So it's dirt racing mostly?
No, just circuit racing, but the grass doesn't grow as well.
Oh, I see. Well, I tell you, I have to commend you. I mean, this car is absolutely gorgeous. It looks period correct, and I could tell you must really maintain this, and it's not easy to maintain a car like this, I'm sure.
Well, it's easy for me because I get Ivan Dutton to look after it. And Tim Dutton's the guy who does it all. But no, they require a lot of knowledge and tender care and a lot of bits and pieces.
Yeah, I'm sure they're a fan favorite with people know the history of these cars, and you don't come across them every day.
No, that's true. You don't, and they're great fun to drive. They are a very well-balanced car given their age.
Well, we want to wish you some luck this weekend, and judging by that smile on your face, you're certainly going to have a good time.
Thank you very much. We certainly will, and thanks to everyone for putting on a great race meeting.
Well, I hope I get a chance to meet you down in Australia one of these days.
It'll be wonderful. You'll be very welcome.
Okay. Thanks a lot, Richard. You were great. Yes, we have David Hands with us, who owns this absolutely gorgeous Bugatti. I'm not sure the year it is, but I got a feeling you may know a little bit about this car.
It's a 1925 Type 39 Bugatti. First ran Montlhéry in July of 25, and then it ran at Monza in September, the Monza Grand Prix. with Constantini, the Bugatti racing manager, driving.
Now this car, I mean, is this the first time you're at Lime Rock with this car?
First time at Lime Rock.
Where are you from?
I'm from Australia, but I live in England.
You're from Australia and live in England. Wow, you're a ways away.
Car lives in England.
Now tell me, I mean, it can't be easy to maintain a car like this. I mean, parts, you literally must have to make them.
Well, most of the parts are original. Some of them you need to refurbish. Tim, the guy that looks after us all, is very experienced and knows what to do. So they're amazingly reliable. And
how long have you been doing this?
For about 7 or 8 years.
Yeah, this. I'm going to tell you something. I got to catch this disease because it looks like you guys are having far too much fun.
We're having a good time. We've driven down the coast from San Francisco to Los Angeles, and then we went on a rally through southern Utah, which was just amazing. You have an amazing country. And we finished in Loveland, Colorado, and then we moved the cars here.
Wow, I'll tell you, we're certainly glad you're here. We always love seeing these cars. Matter of fact, you're going to be going out pretty soon, I'm pretty sure, and we're going to keep an eye out there for you. We got a feeling you're certainly going to have some fun here.
Well, some of these guys are quite fast, but I'm not.
You're out there for the ride, and that's how it should be, really. I mean, winning and losing here doesn't mean much, but just having a car like this on a racetrack, believe me, is enough of a win that anyone would want.
Well, I'm very lucky to have it.
Okay. Thank you. Thanks for your interview. You were great.
Thanks very much.
Good luck.
Yes, as we show you pictures of some of the vehicles we covered today, I want to thank everybody for tuning in, and I truly hope everybody has enjoyed the show as much as we did producing it. It's always a special event to come up here to Lime Rock. As you could see, they really are great hosts. I want to remind everybody that we're going to have probably 5 or 6 follow-on shows about the vintage event as we talk to just so many people and interview them about their cars and different racing experiences. You know, it's just a fantastic thing. I hope everybody gets a chance to come up and see this firsthand. And I want to thank our crew, as they always just do an outstanding job, and looking forward for next week. This program is brought to you in part by SalCal Real Estate Connections. Special thanks to the Race in Action Today crew, Dwayne Cody, Bill Majak, David Seidlinger, and Lisa Backus. And also we want to thank our home station, Nutmeg TV, for all their support. Special thanks to Just Results Weight Loss Center in Bristol, Connecticut, And also, we want to thank Big Apple Pizza for all their support and all the great things they do back at their restaurant.